It's Super Tuesday, but on This Week in YA, it's another batch of books. This week starts off with a few sequels, and the first being Perry's Killer Playlist by Joe Schreiber, and this is a sequel to Au Revoir Crazy European Chick, and it is a series that I love, you guys. I love it because it's Jesse Eisenberg in a Bourne, like a Jason Bourne film, which is a great idea because this kid is like, he's a little awkward, he doesn't know what he's doing with the ladies, and he doesn't know what he's doing with the guns either. So it makes for a great book. It's hilarious and also very like action-packed, and I think this is a great sequel to the series because like sometimes it just feels like a bridge book, but this feels like it could be a good standalone on its own. I think you need a little backstory, and they have a little backstory in there, but you know, I love this series. The second week, this book is Bitter Blood by Rachel Kane, and this is the 13th book in the Morganville Vampire series, and I didn't even know that that was even legal for YA. And then we have Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor, and this is the sequel to Daughter of Smoke and Bone, which is about a girl who has been raised by a demon, if I remember correctly. This book is very like differently written. I mean, the first one, I'm not sure about the second one. They really didn't give much of a synopsis, which leads me to think that the publishers were nice enough not to spoil anybody. So basically it's kind of you know, it starts off in the contemporary world, but there's a lot of fantasy aspects, and you get thrown into a fantasy part near the end-ish. It's very differently written, but I really enjoy this series very much. Eternally Yours by Kate Tiernan, and I believe this is a fantasy drama mixed together crazy fest. Flashpoint by Nancy Kress, and this is, it kind of sounds like Hunger Games, but it's a little bit more contemporary, a little bit more close to home with kind of like reality TV shows, and it is a reality TV show, and this girl gets on there, and it's about how teens react to crisis, and if they react correctly and they win $1 million, and this means a lot after the big sea collapse. And so I believe it's a little bit dystopian, a little bit closer to contemporary, so it might be a little bit brain-shatteringly awesome. It looks like a good book, and I really like the cover because it actually looks like TV screens. No Man's Land by S.D. Underdahl, and this is about a guy whose brother is going through post-traumatic stress disorder. This book is written by a neuropsychologist and has a dash of humor and a pinch of reality. Colin Fisher by Ashley Edward Miller and Zach Stentz, and this is a book by two screenwriters. One of them is a screenwriter for X-Men The Last Stand, and the other one is a screenwriter for Thor, and they have written a young adult novel, and it's basically a contemporary version of Sherlock, and it's about this kid who is really bad at reading facial expressions. Maybe he's on the autism spectrum type thing, which leads me to kind of believe that this might be a little bit like The Curious Incident of the Dog of the Nighttime, which is one of my favorite books. Anyways, a gun goes off at school during this girl's birthday celebration thing in the cafeteria, and Colin decides, or I don't know if he decides or if somebody else tells him that he needs to, but he's going to go, you know, investigate, and this involves him having to figure out how to kind of read people's facial expressions and, like I said, go through the whole Sherlock thing, and so I'm thinking it'll be interesting in seeing how that all pans out. This is another one on this list that I am just like, I need to read this book right now. Sirens by Janet Fox, and this one reminded me a lot of the synopsis for The Diviners or Diviners by Libba Bray, because it is 1920s and it's about a girl who moves away from her hometown to Manhattan, but this is about a girl who she moves away so that she can find a husband and so that she can kind of distance herself from her brother's death and things like that. And she goes to live with her very rich cousin, and the cousin is kind of involved with the mob. And this is 1920s, if I didn't mention that, but it seems very interesting because of the fact that it delves into another aspect of the 1920s. So I'm thinking this is a must-read on this list. So yeah. That is all for this week in New Release Tuesday. It's a very, very small week, but I'm thinking that, you know, after Thanksgiving we might get a big boom of books, possibly, hopefully, not necessarily like Christmas themed, but you know, in order to have books for the Christmas season for us to buy for our friends and family members and stuff like that, and for ourselves, of course. You gotta do something with those Amazon gift cards. So hopefully we have some new big book hauls soon, but this has like a good bit of books. So I hope you go pick some of these up, especially Perry's Killer Playlist. If you have not read Au revoir European Crazy Chick, that book is good. So good. You know, all of these books are great. Great books.